My parents skipped my brain surgery because flights were too expensive. Then I found out they blew my $23,000 on my brother's engagement party, so I went nuclear. My parents said flights to my brain surgery were too expensive. Then I found out where my $23,000 emergency loan actually went. So I decided to teach them a lesson about respect, and it cost them everything. I, 28 male, was working as a senior accountant for a regional insurance firm in Charlotte. Decent salary, good benefits, and a girlfriend who was way better than I deserved. My girlfriend Alda worked as a project coordinator for a logistics company. And when I told her about the diagnosis, I had a tumor the size of a golf ball wedged against my frontal lobe like it owned the place. Benign, the neurosurgeon said, but that didn't make it any less terrifying when he explained the procedure. She didn't flinch, just grabbed my hand and said we'd handle it together. The surgery was scheduled for a Thursday in November. 3 weeks' notice. My parents lived in Tampa after retiring there 2 years ago. My younger brother Chase, 25, lived with them, working on his startup, Idea, which seemed to involve a lot of talking and zero actual business. I called them the day I got the surgery date. "Hey Mom." So, they scheduled the surgery, November 16th. "Oh honey, that's so soon. Are you scared?" "A little, but the doctor said it's routine." "Well, as routine as brain surgery gets." Dad got on the line. "You'll be fine, son. You're tough. Always have been." "Thanks. I know it's short notice, but I wanted you guys to know. We'll try to make it work." Mom said, "Let me check flights." We talked for another 10 minutes. They asked about the procedure, about recovery time, about whether I was still working, normal parent stuff. I hung up feeling okay about it. 3 days later, Mom called back. Her voice had that careful tone people use when they're about to ask for something. "Honey, I need to talk to you about something." "What's up?" "It's your father. His medication costs have gone up again, and we had an unexpected expense with the condo. The HOA hit us with a special assessment for roof repairs. We're short about $23,000. I felt my stomach drop. "That's a lot." "I know. And the timing is terrible. Asking right before your surgery, but we wouldn't ask if it wasn't an emergency. We can pay you back in a few months once your father's pension adjustment comes through." I looked at my laptop at the medical loan paperwork I'd been reviewing. My surgery alone was going to cost me $8,000 out of pocket. But I had savings. I'd been careful with money my entire adult life, maxing out my 401k, keeping an emergency fund. I had about $35,000 liquid. "When do you need it?" "As soon as possible. They're threatening to put a lien on the condo if we don't pay by the end of the month." Alda walked into the room. I mouthed my mom, and she rolled her eyes. "Let me talk to Alda, and I'll call you back." "Thank you, sweetie. You're such a good son." I told Alda about the request. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "They're asking you for 20 grand a week before you have brain surgery. It's an emergency. Your surgery is an emergency. Their HOA bill is not. They said they'll pay me back." "Honey, this feels wrong. Why are they hitting you up for money right now? Why not wait until after you're recovered? Because they need it now? Or because they know you're vulnerable and more likely to say yes?" I didn't want to believe that. These were my parents. They'd raised me. They were just in a tough spot. I transferred the money the next day. $23,000 straight from my savings to their account. Mom called immediately, crying with gratitude. "You've always been the responsible one," she said. "Not like your brother. Chase couldn't help us even if he wanted to." "It's fine, Mom. Just pay me back when you can." "We will. And we'll definitely try to make it to your surgery. Let me price out flights again." The call came the night before my surgery. Not ideal timing, but then again, nothing about this situation had been ideal. "Honey, it's Mom." I was sitting on the couch trying not to think about tomorrow. Alda was in the kitchen making chicken soup like that was going to fix anything. The TV was on mute. I'd been staring at it for 20 minutes without processing a single thing on the screen. "Hey Mom. So, we've been talking, and we need to be honest with you about tomorrow. Here it comes. The flights are just too expensive right now. It's the holidays, and you know how crazy prices get. We're looking at $600 per ticket, and with your father's back acting up, we'd need to fly first class, or he'll be in pain for weeks. That's nearly $2 grand right there. And Chase would need a ticket too." I didn't say anything. Just listened. "Are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here. You understand, right? We want to be there." "You know we do. But it's just not realistic with everything going on." Dad's voice came on in the background. Must have grabbed the phone. Think about it logically, son. You're getting great care there. Best surgeons in the state, you said. What are we going to do? Sit in a waiting room? You'll be unconscious anyway. It's brain surgery, Dad. I know that. I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm saying we just be sitting around doing nothing while the doctors do their job. And for $2,000, that's groceries for 2 months. Groceries for 2 months? I just given them 20 grand 3 weeks ago. Plus, Mom chimed back in. You've got Alda there. She's practically your wife anyway, right? So, you're not alone. Chase really wanted to come, Dad added. He feels terrible about this, but you know his situation. Kid's barely making rent as it is. Kid. Chase was 25. I'd had 3 jobs by the time I was 25. He said to tell you, good luck though, he's really rooting for you. How generous. Look, Mom said, her voice taking on that edge it got when she wanted you to stop making things difficult. We're going to be thinking about you every single second tomorrow. I'll have my phone on me the whole time. Alda has my number. The moment you're out of surgery, we want to hear from her. Okay. You're being awfully quiet. Just tired. Well, that's understandable. Big day tomorrow. You should get some rest. She paused. You're not upset with us, are you? Was I upset? I was having brain surgery in 14 hours and my family was bailing because flights were expensive. The same family I'd just written a check to for their condo emergency. The same family who'd never asked if I was scared or how I was feeling or if I needed anything. Mom, I'm not upset. Good. Because we really would be there if we could. You know that. I know. Chase wanted me to remind you that he's got that job interview next week. He's really nervous about it. Maybe you could give him a call after you're feeling better. Give him some tips. Chase needed career advice from me. The guy having brain surgery. Sure, I'll see what I can do. You're such a good brother. Okay. We'll let you get some rest. We love you so much, honey. You're going to do great tomorrow. The doctors know what they're doing. It's really just routine at this point, right? Routine brain surgery. That was a new one. Yeah, Mom. Routine. That's what I thought. Okay, we'll talk soon. Love you. Get some sleep. They hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, staring at the muted TV. A game show was on. Someone had just won a car. They were jumping up and down, screaming, hugging the host. Alda came in with the soup, saw my face, and set it down on the coffee table. That was them. Yeah, let me guess. Flights are too expensive. She leaned against me. I put my arm around her. The game show switched to a commercial for car insurance. Some gecko was talking about saving 15%. Tomorrow, I was having brain surgery. My family was 1,000 miles away saving money on plane tickets, and I was finally starting to see them clearly for the first time. Funny how a brain tumor can do that. Surgery day arrived cold and dark. Alda woke me up at 4 a.m. I'd been awake anyway, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the 2% chance I wouldn't wake up. You ready? Alda asked softly. No. She squeezed my hand. That's okay. I'm scared too. We drove to the hospital in silence. Her hand stayed on mine the whole drive. She'd taken the entire week off work without asking permission. Just told her boss it was happening. Check-in was a blur. Paperwork, signatures, medical history. The nurse asked who my emergency contact was. My girlfriend Alda. They prepped me in a freezing room. Alda stayed with me until the last possible second. When they came to wheel me to the O, she leaned down and kissed my forehead. I'll be right here when you wake up, she said. I promise. I know. I love you. Love you too. The anesthesiologist told me to count backward from 10. I made it to 7. When I came to, everything hurt. The room was spinning. A nurse appeared and told me the surgery went well. 5 hours. The surgeon said it was one of the cleanest removals he'd done. Alda was allowed in an hour later. She looked exhausted but relieved. She grabbed my hand carefully. How are you feeling? Like someone opened my skull with a can opener. She smiled. Didn't let go of my hand. Your parents called this morning around 10. I told them you were still in surgery. They said they'd call back later. Did they? Not yet. She stayed until visiting hours ended. Promised to be back first thing in the morning. I spent that first night drifting in and out, barely conscious. The morphine kept me floating. Nurses checked on me every 2 hours. I couldn't have told you my own name if someone asked. The second day was better. Still felt like I'd been hit by a truck. But at least I could think straight. Alda brought me real food from outside because hospital food was depressing. We watched some game show on TV with the sound off. Normal stuff, recovery stuff. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. I picked it up, still moving slow. Everything, taking effort. It was a photo. Chase with his arm around a girl I'd never seen before. Both of them holding glasses. Behind them, a banner that read, "Congratulations, Chase and Hannah." Balloons everywhere. String lights. Looked like a country club. The message under the photo, "Let this picture be the first thing you wake up to." Chase proposed. We threw him a little celebration tonight. Wish you could have been here. Hope surgery went well. Love you. I stared at that photo. Read the text again. "Let this picture be the first thing you wake up to." What is it? Alda asked. I handed her the phone without saying anything. She looked at it. Her face went completely still. When was this? I checked the timestamp. 2 days ago. 2 days ago, surgery day. Yeah. She zoomed in on the photo. I watched her eyes scan the background. That's a country club. Yep. This isn't some backyard thing. This is. She kept scrolling, finding more details. There's a photographer, catering staff, professional decorations. This had to cost a lot. I finished. I've been doing the math. Country club rental. $3,000 minimum for an event space like that. Catering for what looked like 40+ people. Another $2,000 easy. The setup, string lights, flowers, rented furniture, balloons. Another $1,500. Photographer, $800 to $1,000. Plus, whatever ring Chase bought, which, knowing my family's need to look good, wasn't coming from a pawn shop. I was looking at an $8,000 to $10,000 party minimum. Alda set the phone down carefully. The HOA emergency wasn't an emergency. They used your money for this. 23 grand. Some of it went here. The rest probably went to Chase's ring. First and last month's rent for wherever they're moving. Who knows what else. But yeah. My money paid for this party while you were in surgery. While I was in surgery, she didn't say anything for a minute. Just sat there processing. Finally, they couldn't afford plane tickets. $600 each was too much, but they could afford this apparently. Honey, I know. Do you? Because I'm looking at this photo, and I'm seeing your parents dressed up celebrating your brother's engagement on the same day you had brain surgery using money you gave them. Money they told you they desperately needed for an HOA emergency. I get it, Alda. And your mom sent you this picture. She chose to send you this. She wanted you to see it. That was the part that kept hitting me. She didn't accidentally post it where I might see it. She didn't forget I was in the hospital. She actively chose to send me this photo with that message. Let this picture be the first thing you wake up to. Like Chase's engagement party was supposed to make me happy. Like I was supposed to be thrilled that my family threw a country club celebration for him on the day I was having brain surgery. With my money, I looked at Alda. They knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah, they did. They picked him again like always. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm the one who's been pretending it wasn't obvious for the last 30 years. Alda squeezed my hand. Didn't try to fix it or make me feel better. Just sat there with me while I stared at the ceiling and processed the fact that my family had spent my $23,000 on a party instead of showing up for my brain surgery. The nurse came in for the afternoon check. Asked how my pain was 1 to 10. Manageable, I said. She adjusted my 4 anyway. The physical pain dulled. But the other thing, the thing sitting cold and heavy in my chest that stayed sharp and clear, they chose Chase. They always chose Chase. And I just paid them $23,000 to prove it one more time. They discharged me 5 days later. Alda picked me up, helped me into the car like I was made of glass. I had half my head wrapped in bandages, 24 staples holding my skull together, and a prescription list that read like a pharmacy inventory. Alda had cleaned the apartment, stocked the fridge, set up the bedroom so everything I needed was within reach. She'd even bought me one of those grabber tools so I wouldn't have to bend down. You didn't have to do all this. I said. Yes, I did. Someone has to actually give a darn. Mom called that evening. Chipper, upbeat, completely oblivious. How are you feeling, sweetie? Like someone cut into my skull. Oh, I'm sure it's not that bad. You've always been tough. Listen. I wanted to tell you some exciting news. Chase got engaged. I sat there on the couch staring at the wall. Yeah, I saw. Isn't it wonderful? We threw him a little party to celebrate. Nothing too fancy, just close friends and family. I wish you could have been there. I was busy. Oh, right. Your surgery. How did that go? Fine. That's great. Well, I'll let you rest. Love you. She hung up before I could respond. Alda came home from the pharmacy about 20 minutes later. What's wrong? Mom called. Wanted to tell me about Chase's engagement. Of course, she did. She said they threw him a little party. Nothing too fancy. That country club looked real unfancy. I spent the next few days recovering and investigating. Turns out when you work as an accountant, you develop certain skills. Skills like knowing how to track money, how to find receipts, how to piece together financial information. I started with Chase's Instagram. He'd tagged the venue, a country club in Tampa. I looked up their event pricing. Minimum $5,000 for a private event plus $100 per person for catering. He tagged 48 people in various photos. Then, I checked Mom's Facebook. She'd posted photos too, more discreet but still there. One showed a close-up of Hannah's ring. I reverse image searched the style and found the jeweler, a boutique shop in Tampa that specialized in custom engagement rings. Their starting price was $3,500. I made a spreadsheet because that's what you do when you're an accountant who's been betrayed by his family. Venue, $5,000. Catering, 48 people, $4,800. Bar service, $1,200. Photography, $1,500. Decorations, rentals, $800. Engagement ring, $3,500. Estimated. Mom's new dress tagged in photo, $400. Dad's new suit, tagged in photo, $350. Total, $17,550. Round it up for miscellaneous expenses, and you get right around $20,000. Close enough to the $23,000 they'd asked me for. The rest probably covered Chase's moving expenses and other costs. Alda found me at the kitchen table, laptop open, spreadsheet displayed. What are you doing? Math. She looked at the screen. Oh, they didn't have an HOA emergency. They needed money for Chase's engagement party and they lied to my face about it. I know. You knew. I suspected. Your mom's timing was too convenient. Ask for money right before your surgery when you're vulnerable. Then claim they can't afford flights. It was manipulation 101. Why didn't you say something? I did. You didn't want to hear it. She was right. I'd been making excuses for them my entire life. What are you going to do? Alda asked. I saved the spreadsheet. I'm going to return the favor. Meaning they showed me who they are. I should believe them. I spent the next 3 days documenting everything. Screenshots of Chase's Instagram posts with timestamps. Screenshots of the venue's pricing page. Screenshots of Mom's Facebook photos showing the date and time they were posted, all during the hours I was in surgery. Then I picked up the phone and called Mom. She answered on the second ring. Honey, how are you feeling? I want my money back. Silence. What? The $23,000. I want it back now. Sweetie, we talked about this. We'll pay you back when Dad's pension adjustment comes through. The one that doesn't exist. I called the pension office. There is no adjustment. More silence. Then you called his pension office. I'm an accountant, Mom. Did you think I wouldn't verify? This isn't we can explain. I saw Chase's engagement party, the country club, the catering, the photographer. I did the math. That party cost around $20,000. The same amount you told me you needed for an emergency HOA assessment. That's not fair. We did have expenses while I was having brain surgery. You threw Chase a $20,000 party while I was on an operating table getting my skull cut open. It wasn't like that then. What was it like? Explain it to me. She was crying now. I could hear it in her voice. We were going to pay you back. We just wanted to do something nice for your brother. He's been going through a hard time. A hard time? He's 25, and lives with you rent-free. I had brain surgery. Don't you dare make this about I want my money. All of it by the end of the week or I'm taking legal action. I hung up. Alda came home that evening to find me at the kitchen table still holding my phone. You okay? I called my mom, demanded the money back, and she cried, made excuses, played victim. Sounds about right. They're not going to pay me back. No, they're not. So, I'm calling a lawyer tomorrow. Alda sat down across from me. Good. Burn it all down. They showed up at 2 p.m. the next day. I was working from home trying to focus on spreadsheets, despite the throbbing in my head. The knock was hard, aggressive, The kind of knock that says someone's ticked. I looked through the peephole. Mom, Dad, and Chase, all three of them. I opened the door but left the chain on. Take that chain off, Dad demanded immediately. No, we drove 4 hours to talk to you, and you're going to hide behind a door. You drove 4 hours to yell at me. I'm good right here. Mom pushed forward. Her eyes were red, makeup smeared. How dare you accuse us of stealing from you? I didn't accuse you of anything. I stated facts. I gave you $23,000 for an HOA emergency that didn't exist. You used it for Chase's engagement party. We were going to pay you back. She screamed. When? When? We could. That's not an answer. Chase stepped up. Chest puffed out like he was going to do something. You're really going to ruin my life over this? Hannah's family is asking questions. Her dad wants to know where the money for the party came from. Tell him the truth. It came from your brother, who is having brain surgery. You're such a jerk. And you're a freeloader who's never worked a real job in his life. His face went red. I'm starting a business. No, you're not. You're living off Mom and Dad while they steal from me to fund your life. Dad slammed his hand against the doorframe. That's enough. You will not talk about your brother like that. Why? Because it's true. We are your parents. You owe us respect. I gave you respect and $23,000. You chose to lie to me. Mom was full on sobbing now. We needed that money. Chase needed that party. He was depressed. We wanted to do something nice for him while I was having brain surgery. Your surgery was fine. You're fine. I stared at her, at this woman who'd raised me, who was now standing in my hallway, screaming that my brain surgery didn't matter because I'd survived it. I want my money back. You have 1 week. We don't have it, Dad said flatly. Then sell the condo. Are you insane? That's our home. Should have thought about that before you stole from me. Chase lunged forward like he was going to hit me. The chain caught him. You piece of back up, I said. Now, Dad grabbed Chase's arm. He's not worth it. 1 week, I repeated. Or I'm filing a lawsuit. You wouldn't dare, Mom said. Try me. We're your family. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't throw parties while you're having brain surgery. You're not family. You're just people I happen to be related to. Dad's face was purple. Now if you do this, if you actually sue us, you're dead to us. You understand? Dead. Funny. I was dead to you the day of my surgery. You just didn't know if it would be permanent yet. Mom's face went white. What are you talking about? Nothing. Get off my property. They stood there for another minute trying to intimidate me through a chained door. Finally, Dad grabbed Mom's arm and pulled her away. Chase followed, but not before spitting at my door. Real classy. I closed the door, locked it, and immediately called the lawyer. His name was Mr. Reynolds, and he'd handled the closing on our apartment 2 years ago. Straightforward guy. Didn't waste time with pleasantries. So, let me get this straight. He said, you gave your parents $23,000. They said it was for an HOA emergency, but they actually used it to fund your brother's engagement party. Correct. While you were having brain surgery, also correct. And you have documentation, receipts, screenshots, timestamps, a spreadsheet breaking down their expenses. I can prove the money was transferred, and I can prove what they spent it on. Do you have anything in writing about the loan terms? Text messages where my mom called it a loan and promised to pay me back. Also a voicemail where she mentions paying me back when my dad's pension adjustment comes through. Reynolds was quiet for a moment. This is pretty straightforward fraud. You could file a civil suit for repayment plus damages. Question is, do you want to? I want every dollar back, and I want it legally documented so they can't weasel out of it. That's doable. I'll draft a demand letter first. Give them 30 days to repay the full amount. If they don't, we file suit. Do it. One more thing you should know. If they have any legal claim to your assets, now's the time to review that. Beneficiaries, power of attorney, any jointly held accounts. They're the secondary beneficiaries on my life insurance after ALTA. Change that today and check your bank accounts, investment accounts, everything. Make sure they don't have access to anything. Something cold settled in my stomach. You think they'd try something? I think people get weird about money, especially family. Better safe than sorry. I spent that afternoon making changes. Called my life insurance company. Removed my parents and Chase's beneficiaries. Changed it to ALTA as primary and a distant relative as secondary. Someone who'd always been decent to me, never played favorites. Then I logged into my investment accounts, my 401k, my savings. Everything looked normal, no unusual activity. The demand letter went out Friday. Certified mail, signature required. Reynolds sent me a copy. It was beautiful, clinical, professional, laying out exactly what they'd done, and what they owed. $23,000 plus interest calculated from the date of transfer. Total $23,920. Reynolds had also included a line about false pretenses and fraudulent misrepresentation. Legal terms that basically meant, we know you lied and we can prove it. They had until December 18th to pay. The calls started immediately. Mom, Dad, Chase, all blocked. Extended family members I barely knew started reaching out. Some supportive, some accusing me of being cruel. I ignored most of them. Monday morning I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Hannah's voice, Chase's fiancée. Hi, this is Hannah. I know we've never met, but I wanted to reach out. Chase told me about everything that's happened, and I'm really sorry about your surgery. I didn't know about the money situation. I thought his parents paid for the engagement party as a gift. If I'd known it came from you, I would have said something. Anyway, I hope you're recovering well. I'm sorry this happened. She sounded genuine. Almost felt bad for her getting caught up in this mess. Alda listened to the voicemail. She didn't know. Apparently not. Poor girl. She has no idea what family she's marrying into. Thanksgiving came and went. Alda and I spent it alone. Ordered Chinese food. Watched movies. My parents had invited us to Tampa, then uninvited us after I hired Reynolds. Fine by me. 2 weeks later, Hannah called again. Not a voicemail this time, an actual call. I almost didn't answer. Hi. I know this is weird, but I need to tell you something. I'm breaking things off with Chase. I found some texts on his phone that I think you should know about. My stomach dropped. What kind of texts? Between him and your parents from back in October, right before your surgery. She sent me screenshots. I opened them on my laptop while she stayed on the line. Chase to Dad. Can't believe the country club is booked for next month. Might have to push the party. Dad to Chase. Don't push it. We'll make it work. Chase. But, what about the surgery? Mom said he might need help with costs. Dad, he's got insurance. He'll be fine. You only get engaged once. Your mom and I will handle the party. Chase, you sure? He's going to be ticked if he finds out. Dad, he won't find out. And if he does, he'll get over it. He always does. There were more texts about the caterer, the photographer, the ring. My mom telling Chase not to worry about money. My dad saying I'd understand eventually because family supports family. All dated between October 8th and October 15th, the week before my surgery. I'm sorry, Hannah said. I didn't know any of this when we got engaged. Chase told me his parents paid for everything. When I found these texts, I confronted him. He said it was complicated. That's when I started digging and found out about the loan from you. Jesus. Yeah. I can forward you the full thread if you need it for your lawyer. Yeah, please. She did. Then she was quiet for a second. For what it's worth, you deserve better than this family. Thanks. Good luck with everything. After she hung up, I just sat there staring at the messages. Alda came over and read them over my shoulder. They knew, she said. They knew you were having surgery and they spent your money anyway. Yeah. And they told Chase you'd get over it. I called Reynolds and sent him the screenshots. He called back 20 minutes later. This is good, really good. Shows premeditation and intent. They deliberately chose to fund the party over your medical situation. That help us. Help show pattern of behavior, and undermines any misunderstanding defense they might try. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Dad's text. He always does like I was some pushover who'd swallow whatever they dished out. Like my surgery was an inconvenience to their celebration plans. Turns out the tumor wasn't the only parasite in my life. December 18th came and went. No payment, no contact, nothing. Reynolds filed the lawsuit December 20th. Civil court suing for the $23,000 plus interest, court costs, and attorney fees. The filing was public record. My phone started ringing within hours. Relatives taking sides. Distant cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions. I let them all go to voicemail. My parents hired a lawyer. Some guy who looked expensive based on the fancy letterhead on the response documents. They were arguing that the money was a gift, not a loan, and therefore not subject to repayment. Reynolds tore that argument apart in his response. Attach the text messages where mom specifically called it a loan. Attach the voicemail where she promised repayment. Attached phone records showing they'd stopped answering my calls after I confronted them about the engagement party. But here's where it got interesting. In their response, my parents claimed they'd used the money for legitimate family expenses, including supporting Chase during a difficult transitional period in his life. Reynolds highlighted that sentence and sent it to me. They just admitted the money went to Chase. That helps us. It destroys their HOA emergency story. They're contradicting their own narrative. Chase had been subpoenaed to provide financial records, his bank statements, credit card bills, receipts for the engagement party. He fought it, claimed privacy, but the judge wasn't having it. When the records came through, it was all there. The country club charge, $5,000. The caterer, $4,800. The photographer, $1,500. The ring, $3,800 from a Tampa jeweler. Reynolds added it all up. The party and ring total $15,100, plus your parents' outfits and other expenses. You're looking at around $17,000. The rest probably went to Chase's moving expenses and other costs. So my money funded my brother's engagement. Your money funded your brother's engagement while you were having brain surgery? Yes. January came. I was back at work full-time, fully recovered from the surgery. My hair had grown back. You couldn't see the scar unless you knew where to look. Life was normal except for the lawsuit hanging over everything. Alda and I went to court in June on a Tuesday morning, warm and humid outside. Reynolds met us at the courthouse, professional as always, carrying a briefcase full of evidence. My parents showed up with their lawyer and Chase. Mom looked smaller somehow, older. Dad looked angry. Chase looked scared, which was funny because he wasn't even the one being sued. Yet the hearing took 2 hours. Reynolds presented our case. The loan, the lies, the engagement party, the timeline. He showed the Facebook post with timestamps, showed the bank transfer, showed the text messages and voicemail, showed Hannah's screenshots, proving they knew about my surgery when they made the decision to spend the money. Their lawyer tried to argue it was a gift. Reynolds showed where mom explicitly called it a loan. Tried to argue it was for legitimate expenses. Reynolds showed the engagement party receipts. The judge looked tired, like he'd seen this same drama 1,000 times. Did you tell your son the money was for an HOA emergency? He asked my mother. She hesitated. Her lawyer whispered something. I may have mentioned the HOA situation. Was there an HOA emergency? Another hesitation. There were ongoing costs. That's not what I asked. Silence. The money was for your son's engagement party, correct? For family needs, including a $5,000 party and a $3,800 ring. Those were separate expenses funded with the plaintiff's money. More silence. The judge ruled from the bench. Full repayment of $23,000 plus interest, court costs, and attorney fees. Total $26,780. Payment due within 60 days. My parents left without looking at me. Chase followed them, phone in hand, probably already posting about how unfair it all was. Reynolds shook my hand. Clean win. If they don't pay, we can put a lien on their condo. Good. Alda squeezed my hand as we walked out. How do you feel? Validated. That's it. That's enough. We went out for lunch to celebrate. I ordered a burger and fries. The first meal I'd truly enjoyed in months. No headache, no nausea, no family drama hanging over me. Just peace. They didn't pay. 60 days came and went. No check, no wire transfer, nothing. Reynolds filed a lien on their Tampa condo. It was public record. Anyone searching property records could see that my parents owed their son $26,780 plus accumulating interest. My parents tried to refinance to pay off the lien, got denied. Their credit wasn't good enough, and the lien made them too risky. August came and went. I got a message from Hannah, Chase's ex-fiancée. Just wanted you to know, I broke off the engagement. Found out Chase lied about a lot of things, including his finances. He told me he had a trust fund. He doesn't. He told me he was starting a business. He's not. Anyway, I'm sorry about everything. You were right about your family. I showed Alda. She smiled. Karma's real. Apparently, September brought another attempt from my parents. Dad called. I didn't answer. He showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door. Finally he sent an email. Long, rambling, full of excuses and half apologies. The summary: they were in financial trouble. The lien was destroying them. Chase had moved back in after the broken engagement, and wasn't contributing to expenses. They needed help. I replied with one sentence: payment plan available through my attorney. A few weeks later, Alda and I took a vacation, first one in years. Went to the coast. Spent a week doing nothing but reading and eating seafood. I didn't think about my family once. When we got back, there was a letter waiting from Mom, handwritten. Dear son, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. We made terrible choices and we hurt you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for help. The lien is going to force us into bankruptcy. Your father's health is declining. Chase is depressed and won't leave the house. We're falling apart. If you could find it in your heart to work with us on a payment plan, we could try to fix this. Please. We're your family. Mom. I read it twice. Then I filed it with the rest of the court documents. Alda found me in the office later. What was in the letter? They want a payment plan. You going to do it? Yeah. Through Reynolds at full commercial interest rates. That's cold. That's fair. Reynolds set it up. $500 a month for 54 months, plus accruing interest. If they missed a payment, the full balance became due immediately, and the lien would be enforced. They agreed. What choice did they have? The first payment came through in July on time to their credit. October brought more drama. Chase got a job, an actual job at a call center. Mom posted about it on Facebook like it was a major accomplishment. So proud of Chase for taking this step. I didn't comment. November arrived. I got a promotion at work. Senior accountant to accounting manager. Significant raise, better benefits. My own office. Alda and I went out to celebrate, just the two of us. It also marked 1 year since the surgery. I was hiking again, fully recovered, feeling strong. Alda took a photo of me at the summit, smiling. Hard to believe it's been a year, she said. Yeah, feels like a lifetime ago. You're not the same person you were. No, I'm not. December brought the final blow. My parents missed their payment. Reynolds called. They're claiming financial hardship. Want to renegotiate, enforce the lien. You sure? Completely. The full balance became due immediately. They had 30 days to pay $24,000 or face the consequences. The lien made refinancing impossible. Their credit was shot. They couldn't pay. Eventually, after months of legal proceedings and mounting debt, the condo had to be sold to satisfy the lien and other creditors. My lien was paid first before anyone else. I got my full $26,780. My parents moved in with Chase, who'd gotten a studio apartment with his call center money. 3 people in a studio. Couldn't have happened to nicer people. Alda and I bought a house in January with my settlement money as part of the down payment. 3 bedrooms, nice yard, good neighborhood. We hosted a housewarming party. Invited friends, CO workers, people who'd actually been there when it mattered. I'd survived brain surgery and survived my family's betrayal. I'd come out the other side with something they'd never have. Self-respect. The knowledge that I didn't need their approval or their presence to build a good life. Some families are better left behind. The brain surgery saved my life. The lawsuit saved my dignity. And that was worth everything. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.